morning. I wanted to take you through our virtual plan room drawing log. We have VPR. And on our project, the project that I'm working on, we've been on this project for about a year now, so we've had quite a few revisions. But I wanted to take you through and show you how we're using this tool for our virtual plan room. This Excel workbook has 6 tabs. So we have the file name tool, the revision log, a drawing log, a spec log, current set tool, and the exhibit C. For this video, we're just going to go through and take a look at how the revision log, the drawing log, and the spec log works, so you have a good understanding of what it's doing. In the next video, we'll talk about using the file name tool and the current set tool for slip sheeting. All right, so let's get going. Our first tab is going to be the revision log. And what we have here is just a simple spreadsheet of trying to fill in the information. What we're looking for is, what was the type of document that we've received. For this one, it's like CD is construction documents. You can see our very first entry was our bid package 1, 100% DDs. Need to fill in the date that it was issued, and we're just starting out and calling it revision 0. And status for our virtual plan room, is it posted or is it not? So yes, it's posted. And then as we start getting more and more drawings, we would just continue to fill this out, addendums, and then the date, and then it becomes revision 1, revision 2, such and so on. And so you can see, as I said, we've been on this project for about a year, and we've gotten down to about 105 revisions so far. So this is the first sheet that you would go to and start populating, just to make sure that that you're getting your revisions listed in there. And so we've got RFIs and such, or ASIs that have been issued. All of this information is going to read back to the drawing log and the spec log, and I'll show you how that means. So let's switch to our drawing log. So this is fully populated, and we'll cover in a different video how you would want this populated, but you'd have basically your sheet numbers and your sheet names. And what this information is doing is it is reading off of the revision log. So you can see here what it's looking at is you simply put an X in the column if it's in that revision, if this drawing was issued in that revision. So if I was to delete this X here, it returns a value of nothing, thinking that it was not issued. So if we plug that back in, then there we go. Then that sheet was issued in that revision. We could also say if it was issued in R2, then we would watch this. It goes from 00. If we said this was issued in revision 2 and plug that in, it's automatically going to give us a value of the R2, revision 2. So let's return that back to 0. So something that really helps is as we're moving the cursor, it's highlighting. So sometimes we don't have to try to line up and see if we're on the right row or not. Another thing with this log is very, very handy is the total amount of sheets that's listed up there again. So if we delete this, you'll see that my number changed to 84. So this is very handy at the top of the sheet for as you're plugging in the values, or excuse me, as you're plugging in the X's on the sheets that have been issued in this iteration, whether it's addendum, ASIs, or something like that. If you know you had 29 sheets and you're going through and you've missed one and you have 28, you know that you should go back and check and find out that you've checked all of the sheets and you should have 29 filled in. So that's how this is reading. The spec log is reading exactly the very same. You can see here that when we set this up, we didn't fill in the revision 0, so this just makes it look much easier. So this only has one X, so it's R7. This R22, if we were to hit Control and right arrow key, Control and right arrow key, we'll jump to revision 22, and we can jump back. All right. Now, if we were to add in the values of, yes, the spec was issued in revision 0, you can see that even by filling in the X here, it's not going to change this value because it's looking for the latest value, which is, in this instance, is going to be revision 22. So that should give you a decent idea of how this is working. Now, what's working up here is this is our array formulas. This is probably getting into the the nuts and bolts of how it's working, but it's using a transpose formula, and basically it's reading off of this column and this column and this column to fill things in. And so if we're looking here, you can see that it's just transposing. It's turning that vertical column into a horizontal column and starting to fill in that information. So that's relatively easy. But let me show you how it's working. And I think what we're going to do here to kind of simplify things a little bit is let's hide so we can, let's hide a few so we can see kind of what we're looking at. Okay, so looks like revision 5 was our latest one that we had. And you can see that we have RFI 223 was our last revision that we've had here. And if you look here on the drawing log, we had RFI 223. Let's just say we put in something fictitious here for right now and fill in RFI 225, and that was issued on 11/13, and we're going to call that revision 106, and let's just say that that is posted. So now we've entered new values here in our revision tracking log, and if we go to our drawing log, you can see it now populated that information. There's RFI 225, there's revision 106, and it filled in the date. And if you go to the spec log, you'll see that it did that as well. So we got to scroll over and go find that latest one. There it is. RFI 225, revision 106 and 11/13. Let's try that again. Let's just try another one. Let's do another RFI. Let's say 226, and let's say 11/14, and let's call this revision 107, right? And we'll just call it posted. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. Yeah, circular reference, it doesn't like it. And let's look at that again. There it is. It's populated there on the drawing log as well as the spec log. So that's it. That's how our sheet is working. And in our next video, we'll show you how we put this into practice.